Nigeria's economic landscape has been marked by bold reforms, rising investment opportunities, and the urgent need to build an economy that works for all. Across the country, governments, investors, business leaders, and development experts continue to explore new ideas and strategies to drive growth, create jobs, and strengthen the nation's economic future. Against this backdrop, Delta State is positioning itself to play a significant role in Nigeria's economic transformation. The recently concluded Delta State Economic Summit brought together key stakeholders to examine the state's economic potential, attract investment, and identify practical pathways for sustainable development.
Welcome to Delta State Economic and Investment Summit 2026. Today, Delta State take the stage in hosting top Nigeria functionaries. My name is Chioma Onwebula. Today promises to be an exciting day for Delta State. Come with me. Let's join Mary Jane inside.
Welcome to Dome Event Center here in Asaba, where government officials, business leaders, investors, and developmental partners from across the country and beyond are gathering for the Delta State Investment and Economic Summit 2026, themed harnessing our strength, unlocking our potentials. So for the next few days, the attention will be on how Delta State plans to unlock her potentials, create new investment, and strengthen her position as a preferred destination for businesses.
The massive infrastructure drive of Governor Sheriff Oborowori's administration has not only improved the livelihoods and economic strength of Deltans, but is also laying the foundation for sustainable growth. Building on this, the administration is committed to data-driven, private sector-led economy that creates opportunities for the teeming youth. At the heart of the summit is the drive to forge strategic partnerships, leverage Delta's competitive advantages, develop the non-oil sector, create jobs, accelerate economic growth, and achieve sustainable development.
It is therefore my honor and pleasure to welcome you all to this Economic and Investment Summit, convened as part of my administration's strategic imperatives for building a robust economy that is adaptable to the physical, social, and technological changes of the 21st century. Through this summit, we hope to connect ideas with capital, forge strategic partnerships, and maximize our competitive advantages as a state to build an enduring legacy of wealth and prosperity for the maximum benefit of current and future generations of Deltans and residents in the states. Our primary goal today is to partner with interested parties to maximize our state competitive advantages, develop the non-oil sectors of the economy, create jobs, accelerate economic development, and achieve sustainable development.
One of the strongest signals from the summit was Governor Sheriff Oborowori's announcement of a $100 million viability gap funding initiative to help de-risk viable investments. The objective is to use government support to make commercially viable projects more attractive to private capital, particularly where infrastructure or financing gaps may stand in the way.
Mr. Vice President, as I conclude my address, I am pleased to announce that the government has set aside $100 million, approximately $133.8 billion, as viability gap funding to de-risk new investments in the states. This is a practical demonstration of our total commitment to ensuring that the agreements reached at this summit are executed without delay.
Secretary to the Delta State Government, Dr. Kingsley Imo, shed light on the significance of the summit and its role in driving sustainable economic growth.
We have 4 seaports, Warri, Koko, Brutu, and Saple. We have 2 airports, Asaba, an international airport, and Warri. Our population is about 6.2 million, and then we have 60% of them youthful and under 30. And that presents a lot of opportunities and also a lot of challenges in terms of job creation and other attendant requirements. So we're truly working on these statistics to see how we can get to the next level. What we have done here, because we have these fundamentals right, is to invite the entire world to see the enormous job that this administration and previous administrations have done to put the state in a proper footing for investment. We have 5 critical thematic areas. The first is agriculture, agribusiness, and livestock. It happens to be a cornerstone. If you look at that non-oil GDP, that accounts for 32%, and that's very significant as it is. Mining, solid mineral and mining has become very strong. We are full of kaolin, we have huge gradients of coal, lignite, and silica. All of this can be found practically all over in Delta States. And those are the presentations we are making and inviting the public to come on. Energy ecosystem. We have Transcorp power in Delta State, we have Saple power in Delta State, and we have 8.5 megawatts of IPP already running, established by the state. So here you have a big opportunity for investors to come in. Delta Special Economic Zone presents an important platform for us to run. We are situated on 3,600 hectares of land, and that's very significant. 2,600 in cocoa axis and 997, about 1,000 in the Kwale area. So gas is in abundance. What we are selling to the world is not only just the availability of that gas, we're also saying that the state has made significant development in the Delta Special Economic Zone. It's a tourist delight and investor's delight. So on this note, I'd like to welcome you to Delta State, its economy and the people. Welcome and thank you.
Vice President Kashim Shettima said the administration's assumption of office has ushered in a healthy competition among states, with each state striving to harness its immense potential. He described Delta's efforts to position itself for investment as a welcome development, highlighting the vast opportunities waiting to be harnessed.
The cycle of competition among our states is now evident in the quality and ambition of the investment summits convened across the Federation. Every state possesses immense promise, but each must define a trajectory unique to its history, geography, people, and comparative advantage. This is a race we must welcome, a race that proclaims growth rather than conflict, a race in which the prize is employment, prosperity, and human dignity, a race for the future. I am therefore honored to join the government and people of Delta State in this march towards that future. Every host state contributes to the Federation's commercial ambition. One highlights agriculture, another minerals, technology, ports, energy, or tourism. In that healthy rivalry, Nigeria discovered the full measure of her wealth. This season of summits owes itself to 2 developments. The first is the stronger foundation laid by the economic research of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, which has placed far larger allocations in the hands of state governments to pursue their internal development agendas. The second is that no state wishes to be trapped in the dilemma of having money but not knowing how to spend it. For rescuing us from that dilemma, the future of a people cannot be deposited in a single commodity. Diversification is an instinct of economic self-preservation and a measure of the quality of leadership. There is no doubt that His Excellency Governor Sheriff Francis Oborewori is devoted to leading Delta into a new era of productive expansion. The design of this summit reflects the seriousness of that purpose. It brings government, investors, development institutions, industry leaders, scholars and entrepreneurs into the same room, followed by sectoral discussions, deal-making, networking, and field engagements.
The federal government also expressed readiness to support credible investment proposals. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, described Delta State as an attractive investment destination, citing its comparative advantages, particularly its abundant gas resources capable of powering industries. She said Delta has the potential to emerge as Nigeria's fourth major industrial hub after Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt, with plans for special economic zones, potential seaports, and other strategic opportunities.
I'm convinced that Delta State has the ingredients to become Nigeria's next great industrial hub. That's what I wish for it as a daughter of Delta. Standing alongside Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt as an engine of the national economy. The emergence of a new growth pool here in Delta State would be good for Nigeria as a whole. It would help decongest some of our economic hubs like Lagos and Kano that are becoming overcrowded. Lagos alone accounts for around a quarter of Nigeria's GDP and half of its non-oil GDP. Consider Delta's natural, infrastructural, and human endowments. We've heard about them. Abundant natural gas, the coastline with seaports at Warri, Sapele, Burutu, and Escravos, the Itape-Ajaokuta-Warri rail line, the fertile land of Delta State, solid minerals, 49 tertiary institutions producing young people who want opportunities in the state where they grew up. The Delta State's government focus on developing the special economic zones makes sense. In fact, a new report by the World Bank on industrial policy specifically identifies special economic zones as one of the best available tools for governments with limited fiscal space and bandwidth and relatively small local markets. Governments can improve infrastructure and regulatory frameworks for a specific location, which in turn allows for the pooling of labor, inputs, and ideas. With Delta State's gas assets that we've heard about, and working with the federal government, this is key, working with the federal government, you have an important ingredient for the essential infrastructure. But I also would encourage you to visit a couple of other special economic zones around us. I visited the Lekki Free Zone just 2 days ago, and the deep sea ports. And what is happening there, it started while I was Minister of Finance, and what is happening there is worth seeing. Phase by phase, they are working and they are developing the area. There are 5,000 people employed there now. In tandem with the development of the special economic zone, another priority would be to identify a small number of value chains. Again, it was said at the beginning, areas where you have strong comparative advantage, and they are there. We've talked about agro-allied processing. We have to go all the way from the production all the way up the value chain, ensuring standards, quality, access to finance, access to markets. This is what trade is about. It doesn't start just when you have the product. It starts even when you start to produce the product. So I strongly encourage you to identify 1 or 2, 3 crops, no more, focus on those and take those along the value chain. Second, the blue economy. Delta's coastline and rivers have been mentioned. They have the potential to support aquaculture parks, fish landing sites, jetties, and cold rooms. Nigeria imports on average 573,388 metric tons of fish and fish products worth $866 million, almost $1 billion a year. We import that. In addition to the fisheries, the state's seaports, export terminals, and commercial centers provide a base for port services, ship repair, and marine logistics. The question is, what investment is needed in these ports or marine services to enable Delta State to take better advantage of this natural endowment? So this is the kind of development that would make for very good jobs for our young people. Turn Delta State into a marine logistics hub. So that's the other request I have for you. Turn it into a marine logistics and ship repair hub. And finally, the third area is in oil and gas. Yes, we've spoken about this. That's what the state is known for. And what we've heard, even in the oil and gas, we've got work to do. We've got to improve pipeline connectivity. You have to work with the federal government to get gas to these other areas. If you make the special economic zones, the gas has to be piped there so it can actually work. You have people who want to generate power for the state, but if they don't get the gas, they will not be able to do that. You want to develop a solid minerals industry, and we've got what it takes. It's silica, kaolin, and other things, but they all need the gas to be properly piped to where it's needed.
Economic growth is not just about numbers. It is about creating jobs, opening opportunities, and improving lives. Brazilian ambassador to Nigeria, Carlos Jose Moreno, described Brazil and Nigeria as growing economies with strong opportunities for collaboration. He noted that Brazil's major exports to Nigeria are agricultural products, with raw sugar among the most significant, while Brazil has also supported agricultural development and imports fertilizer from Nigeria. The summit also brought together leading voices in economics, business, and global development, including Professor Taiwo Oyedele.
Few states in our nation carry Delta's extraordinary gifts. You hold the hydrocarbon wealth that has powered Nigeria for generations. Your rivers and ocean coastlines make you a true titan of the blue economy. Your land is fertile. Your vast mineral wealth rests beneath your soil, waiting for capital to bring it to life. Yet, raw endowment has never been the ultimate differentiator. Execution is. Capital has no regional sentiments and no political loyalty. Capital goes where it's welcome and stays where it is protected. To the investors and captains of industry in the room, we are not being asked to take a leap of faith on unproven promises. The macroeconomic turnaround is documented and is real. The question before you today is practical and immediate. Whether you will put your money and your investments where there is visionary state leadership that meets economic opportunity here in Delta States. The federal government is delivering on its commitment at the center. Delta State is proving its commitment here today. Now I call upon the entrepreneurs and investors in this room to complete the circuit.
Tony Elumelu.
All I want to say is Delta is very safe for investment, hospitable, and very receptive to people. As a group, our group, one of the things we do in our group, monitor power generation and power distribution. Everything we discuss here needs to be powered. We need to provide electricity to make sure it works. In Delta State, we have a 1,000 installed electricity generating capacity at Really. They call Transcorp Power Really. Unfortunately, we do about 500 megawatts a day because of some constraint gas issues and evacuation issues. But Mr. Governor, we would like to discuss with you to see how we can help or partner with you with Delta State to make electricity generation and distribution to the last home in Delta State affordable and possible. I believe that will help us to truly create employment, alleviate poverty, and industrialize our state.
And Professor Patrick Mulumba.
That is what gladdens my heart, that in your own small way here in Delta, recognizing as you do that Nigeria must be built state by state, you are beginning to recognize the areas that ought to receive attention. When a few Africans heard I was coming here from as far as Trinidad and Tobago. They asked me, but why were we not invited? I said, next time. Because next time, Honorable Governor, I want to see Kenyans here. I want to see Ghanaians here. I want to see Sudanese here. I want to see Ethiopians here. I want to see Moroccans here. I want to see Egyptians here. Because Africans must begin to believe that they have both the intellectual and financial wherewithal to participate in the development of their continent. Because it is only when we do so that our friends of goodwill from Brazil, our friends of goodwill from China, our friends of goodwill from Europe, our friends of goodwill from the United States of America will begin to believe that the relationship between us and them is symbiotic rather than parasitic. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Nigeria is the biggest economy in real terms in sub-Saharan Africa. I look forward to the day when, if I'm an investor in Delta, I want to invest in the blue economy, I want to invest in any area, I can take my plane from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia and arrive here in Asaba without a landing and exit card. I look forward to that day. I look forward to the day when there will be no visa for an African coming to this country. Because when you are big, the expectation from you are big. We cannot run an economy where we are so fragmented. But I'm urging you going forward, ask yourself, how are you using your young population who are graduating from the universities? What skills are they receiving? I'm asking, how are you using your academics from the universities? What is the budget that you have set apart for research and development so that your academics are not only individuals who preside over graduation ceremonies, but they are producing thoughts and they are engaged in research which is informing agriculture, which is informing energy, which is informing all the critical areas. And as my good friend Tony Elumelu said, you can talk development all you want, but if you don't have energy, you are going nowhere. Delta looks good. Make it good. Allow it to remain good. Think beyond yourself in the knowledge that you are not successful until your successor succeeds. God bless you.
Among other distinguished experts.
Around the world, hydrocarbon-rich countries are consciously rebuilding their economies to achieve prosperity after oil. They're using oil, revenues from oil, to build a future economy that will be prosperous even after oil. And this is because oil and gas is a finite and wasting resource. Examples of countries like Norway, 40 years of oil and gas production in the North Sea, has built a sovereign wealth fund that is approaching $3 trillion. Let me just highlight a few focus areas here in Delta State. Maritime commerce. As the Secretary to the State Government pointed out, we have 4 ports: Warri, Sapele, Koko, and Burutu. 2 interconnected airports. And by design, an interconnecting express route from Warri through Ueli, Kwale to Asaba that not only connects the 2 airports, but connects our ports to markets. So what are the enablers to ensure that we benefit the most from these maritime endowments? we will have to dredge the waterways, Escravos, Warrior and Benin rivers, to allow bigger vessels into these ports. It sounds very simple, but if you do this, the traffic into each of these 4 ports and across the state will more than quadruple. The road infrastructure connecting these areas, these key areas, must come under continuous maintenance. Continuous maintenance. If the roads become unusable, these assets will start to waste. Agriculture. We have avenues for aquaculture, ranching, large-scale cassava production, and oil palm. The last one I will talk about will be industrial development. We have an industrial park in Kuala. As we speak, we have made pipeline gas available within that park. Once we have anchor tenants, major anchor tenants into the park, it becomes easy to put in embedded power. We don't even need to connect to the grid. Embedded power in modules of 5 megawatts. And once you have electricity and you have pipe gas available in an industrial park, the rest is easy for the private sector to come in and invest massively. The infrastructure going forward will have to be targeted. We're not just going to be building roads connecting villages and towns of well-known people. That's okay. But I'm saying the roads to be built and maintained, we have to service these clusters that I've spoken about and make sure that movements of goods becomes unimpeded. His Excellency, we have to devote time to producing healthy, well-educated manpower, which means healthcare. Education must be emphasized. In the end, when we focus on these enablers, we must have a one-stop shop, very professionally run one-stop shop, where investors can knock, pick up all the information they need, go back, whether you're applying for swaths of land or whatever it is, you have a one-stop shop where you are attended to professionally and you come back into this safe state and invest.
I can also confirm that the governor is not only just convoking this summit for the sake of gathering people to deliberate on the potentials in Delta State. But I can also confirm that the governor is also ready. Because the governor, while he has been on the saddle, has actually deepened the infrastructural development in Delta State in preparation for investors. So I can assure all investors that are here that feel free to come and invest in Delta State. Feel free to come and invest in the Niger Delta, because the Niger Delta right now is the safest part of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Permit me to commend His Excellency, the Governor, for the summit and the Summit Planning Committee for convening this timely and strategic gathering at a time when subnational competitiveness is increasingly becoming the driving force behind national economic transformation. This summit, therefore, demonstrates Delta State's commitment to positioning itself as a preferred destination for investment, enterprise, and sustainable development. On behalf of NASTIMA, therefore, in closing, the organized private sector of Nigeria, I congratulate the government and the good people of Delta State on this important initiative. We wish the summit fruitful deliberations and every success in advancing a more prosperous, competitive, and investment-friendly Delta State, one that is truly harnessing the strength
and unlocking its potential. I want to thank you all. May God bless Delta State. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And may God bless and protect our federal and defense forces.
Your Excellency, I bring you good tidings from Anambra State, the light of the nation. I'm sorry I came in about 15 minutes late because I was stuck in traffic at Onitsha. Today is a Monday. And to have a traffic at Onitsha on a Monday, the Monday sit at home is over. But just two quick footnotes to what I have heard. Number one is listening to the Honorable Minister of Finance and listening to our keynote speaker. One key message that was given is that from a macroeconomic standpoint, Nigeria has stabilized and on the rise. And that leads me to a point that you made, Mr. Governor. You and I are on the same page. I haven't borrowed a dime since I became governor. But I will hesitate to make the other one that you added, which is that you will never. Because if you look at what you just said, the title of this conference, Unlocking the Opportunities. Nigeria has a paradox, which this macroeconomic stability that has been achieved is something to celebrate, because we have to realize where we are coming from. When I became governor, I pulled Anambra State out of an ongoing World Bank loan, NG Cares. And Anambra was the only state that pulled out. Why? Because the macro fundamentals, the foreign exchange, the exchange rate distortions were such that I told the World Bank that even at zero interest, it was still the most expensive fund in the world, given what I knew was going to be inevitable, an exchange rate realignment much later. If you were giving me money and I changed it at 460 naira to the dollar today, when I know that tomorrow it will be over 1,000, even if you lend it to me at zero, the effective interest rate in it is over 100%. And so that's why Anambra pulled out. Today, that has changed. And therefore, breaking the paradoxes of Nigerian economy, we are a capital scarce economy, but which prior to 2023 was having a massive capital flight. Double jeopardy. You have capital scarcity, but also losing capital in droves. Today is going reversed. You now have net foreign exchange reserves of about a little over 40 billion and gross reserves of about $52 billion, rising from 3 billion as at 2023. Rising from 3 billion as at 2023. So, and the exchange rate has become stable, more stable, predictable to a large extent, and therefore, Delta and Nigerian economy and subnationals will require foreign capital. Be they African, be they from anywhere, will require foreign capital. And the environment, the macroeconomic environment is more conducive today. So I wouldn't make that kind of straw. I wouldn't, maybe Delta, or you are my rich neighbor, you have a lot of oil money and so on. So you can, Delta can afford it. I'm not sure how many others can afford to do that. The second, and just point from what I have also heard, is that we need to work together. Delta is one of the 36 subnational states, plus FCT, plus the federal government, that's 38 governments, excluding the 774 local governments. We need to work together. Delta alone
will try, but together, harnessing the neighborhoods. And I suggest that Delta and Anambra are literally like the relationship with the completion of the second Niger Bridge. It's like twin cities. You now have us here, between New York and New Jersey, for example. We must now, as two states, cascade our relationship beyond our personal friendships to now working group. Because I can say, in a whole lot of areas where Anambra could also piggyback on what is going on in Delta, and where Delta could piggyback on what is going on here. You have an economic free trade thing. We are building a new commercial industrial city powered by an aerotropolis. We have quite a lot in common, and we better synergize.
They shared valuable insights and keynote perspectives on economic growth, investment, development, and the opportunities ahead for Delta State.